New manager means new transfer targets, and we're starting with a new goalkeeper. Tom, we've been linked with a couple of them. The first one is Mendy, who's currently playing in France, a 25-year-old. I'm not going to ask you about him because none of us have heard of him. But the second one is who Pellegrini had at Manchester City, Tom, really Caballero. Now at Chelsea, what's your thoughts on him? Would you be happy with him, or are you hoping for someone a little bit more, I don't know the word, ambitious, if you like?
Well, you stumped me, really, Joe. I would, if it was me, but obviously Pellegrini's got his own targets, I would go for one of the ones that would that's gone down, you know, like your Butland or something like that. But obviously Pellegrini's got his target, and I mean, from what I remember about Willie though, that Willie Caballero, Man City was he a bit of a calamity keeper.
He had his moments, I think.
I mean, look, if you get him, I mean, it's going to be a great. If we got him, yeah, I mean. Which one would it be? Number one, though? Is he getting him in to get number one, or is he getting him like for our agent and him swap? I don't know. Like, is it going to be the same situation with the keepers who had the last sort of 4 or 5 years? We don't know which. We haven't got number one, number two, have we? Really? We just have we alternate between always two keepers, don't we?
What about yourself, Charlie? I mean, is he good enough to be number one? And is that the type of signing we should be going for? He's still got a year left at Chelsea, so we'd have to probably pay some sort of fee, although bearing in mind he's 36 years old, it'd probably be minimal. I mean, is this a good signing, or is Willie a bit of a limp signing?
It's. I think we need a better goalkeeper if we want to push Adrian down to a definitive second. I don't think Caballero is miles ahead of Adrian. I think he's probably ever so slightly better than him. If that, it's sort of like a close Joe Hart-ish situation again. I want a really good goalkeeper, but I don't know if this is the window to do it. I think we have a lot of stuff to do with the squad, a lot of building to do with the squad. And if Pellegrini knows him, likes him, thinks he's good enough, professional enough to come in and really help us out, whether that be to usurp Adrian or to at least fight with him for that position, and like you say, he's old and he's probably going to be relatively cheap, then we might as well just go ahead and try and figure that one out. My problem is that we're going to be in this exact same situation again, whether it be next year or the year after that.
One player that I have been linked with that has just got relegated, as Tom alluded to, is West Brom's defender, Higazi. Charlie, what's your thoughts on him? He's got a £2.5 million release clause. Is this sort of so cheap that it's low risk, or is this lack of ambition, squad filler type thing?
Same situation again, really. He is going to be super cheap, like you say. And if we want to, like, we're going to have to replace Collins. Burke supposedly probably able to leave. Oxford looks like he wants to leave. There's rumours about Reed leaving, so obviously we need numbers. I wouldn't get him in if we're considering him to be some sort of world-beating first-choice centre-back. I think for me, the potential partnership of Ogbonna and Rice is really super exciting to me. So if we want a guy who's just going to be a decent enough squad player for 2.5 million, it's not that bad at all. Might as well like get it done, and then we can again concentrate on areas where we're looking for really good first-choice people to significantly improve the team.
When Pellegrini arrived at West Ham United, he stated he would like to change his transfer strategy and go for young players with pace. Tom, the first player that we've been linked with that fits that category, there's someone been linked with in the last 4 transfer windows already, so it's not someone that we're unaware of. That's Traore or Middlesbrough. Would you like to see him here at West Ham, Tom?
Yeah. I didn't actually go to the cup game. I think we played him last year, didn't we? I didn't actually go to the cup game, but a lot of the people that went up and see him, apparently, they said, yeah, he was really, really good. I think he done superb against us, didn't he? If I remember right, Gio, was he really, really good against us?
I don't remember playing Middlesbrough last year.
In the cup? Was it like Motley before? Who's he played for before then?
I don't remember playing Middlesbrough last year. We played him the year before in the Premier League, though.
That'd be it then, mate. Sorry, I'm getting my wires crossed. He's a very good player, mate. Yeah. So if that come around, what sort of room and fee is it? What's the sort of fee going to be, Gio?
About 15 million, I'd imagine. We're pushing probably even more than that.
It's in the budget. It's 15 million. So if we can get that one over the line, I think that'd be quite a good signing, to be honest.
Is that the type of players we should be targeting at West Ham now, Tom? So away from, we've spoke about 2 players who are at the other end of the spectrum in terms of age, etc. But is this the type of player we should be going for? Someone with potential, someone with pace, someone that's going to bring a new wave of energy to the side, if you like?
Yeah, I think so, Gio. I mean, our track record of obviously getting players and things in the past is obviously getting has-beens and dropouts from other clubs and mid-30s sort of thing. If we are going to sort of get to the so-called next level, as they say, we're going to start purchasing players that are a bit younger, obviously, which therefore costs a bit more money, which means obviously a bigger gamble from the owners. They could spend £15 million on the Traore, and he might not do it for us, and we might have to sell him a couple of seasons later and make a loss on him. That's just the way it is. But to move forward to that, if Pellegrini wants to move forward, then unfortunately that's just the way it's going to be. That's the price to players these days.
Charlie, I know we've discussed him in the past on this channel ourselves, and we've sort of said that his end product is very questionable and perhaps not up to Premier League standard. Last season in Championship, however, he rattled in 5 goals and 10 assists for Borough. Is he starting to answer those doubters?
He's answering the doubters a bit in a lower division against lesser opposition. I'm not going to act like it's easy or whatever, and that we haven't signed people from the Championship who have gone on to do very well. But those doubts still remain at the top level. He would be a sort of person I would be happy to take the risk on, because he is relatively young, and if he puts it all together, then you've got a hell of a player, because his pace and power are absurd. I think he's better than Antonio in that sense, personally. So if he can put it together, then you've got an incredible player in your hands. But the problem is he hasn't proved he can put it together. So would you want to take that risk on him? I'm not 1,000% sure I would personally, but I could very easily see why someone else wouldn't.
Perhaps less of a risk as Stoke City centre midfielder Ndai Charlie. He arrived for 14 million in January, got relegated. However, he impressed while he was at Stoke. Is that the type of player you would like to see come in, who's going to... Pellegrini's going to need a defensive midfielder by the sounds of it. Everybody wants to see a defensive midfielder. Is he the answer to the question?
I don't think he's the answer. I would be very happy if he was a player who was in our squad. I think he's basically what Cheku Kouyaté thinks Cheku Kouyaté is. He can actually run with the ball. He has a good shot on him, stuff like that. I think in his head, that's the truth of the matter. I would much prefer him playing than Kouyaté. But if we're looking for a guy who's going to come in and significantly improve our first team and make us defensively solid in the midfield positions, then to be honest, I don't think he's that guy. But if we were to buy him and it was for near enough what Stoke bought him for, then I would be relatively happy, because I do think he is actually a useful player to have in and around the squad. He tries very hard, he works very hard, and he's got a good shot on him. So
as soon as Pellegrini arrived, we were linked with players that played with him in the past, and that is no exception to West Brom striker Rondon, who played under him at Malaga. Tom, what's your thoughts on West Brom striker Rondon? £60 million release clause. Would you be happy to see him at West Ham? And is that the type of striker that should do well under Pellegrini as he has in the past?
Yeah, mate. I mean, I even before Pellegrini come, I think with these shows you mentioned Rondon before, I'd be happy with Rondon. I would be happy with Rondon. I think he's a very good player. Obviously, I wouldn't want to get Rondon in, though, if we were selling Hernandez. I think Hernandez is going to be key for us next year. So I'd keep Hernandez with Carroll, and also, obviously, if you get Rondon in, I think that them three up, that's a cracking strike force, Sergio, to be honest with you.
From a former Man City player earlier on to a current Man City player, Charlie, Phil Foden, who turns 18 on Monday. We were linked with him like that as soon as Pellegrini come in, saying that he was going to be coming on loan. City are open to loaning him out with a long-term replacement for David Silva. Is this a win-win for West Ham if we do get him in?
Possibly. I don't think. The first thing to say is I don't think that the link is true. I think it's just an easy one. Where the Pellegrini used to be City, who would City to loan out? Foden, done. Next question. I don't think it's particularly true. I think in reality, I would be happy to see him. I think he's got something about him. He's not. I wouldn't put him as a first team starter for us, just because he's unproven at being a first team starter at Premier League level. I think for his experience and his growth, he's probably better served staying at Man City, to be perfectly honest. And I think if we're looking at a sort of win-win situation, then I would rather see that spot go to Cullen or Domingos Quina or someone like that, who we are going to have for the long term and can at least benefit from in the long term. Because let's be honest, if Phil Foden comes here and does badly, we lose out and we're not going to buy him at the end of the season. If he comes here and does well, that's fine. We've had a guy for a season who's done well, but he's just going to go back to City and we're going to get nothing. And again, being the exact same situation next summer, which is something I'm keen to get out of this ridiculous cycle of constantly looking into the exact same things year after year after year. So personally, I wouldn't go anywhere near him, and I don't really think it's true either.
While we were all worrying about Lanzini leaving this summer, we still might have to worry if there's a good World Cup. Attention has turned to our Austrian Hammer of the Year, Marko Arnautovic, as Manchester United have been linked with him. Tom, what's your thoughts on this one? He won Hammer of the Year, but could it be argued that that's the best season he's ever going to have, and he's currently at his peak value, and you're never going to get more? We arguably should have sold Dimitri Payet in the summer of 2016 for maximum value, but didn't. Or is it essential that we hang on to our top players and move forward, building our team around them?
Yeah, it's essential that we keep, especially, and Arnautovic is up there in the top 5 players of our club, if not the best player. You know, arguably behind Lanzini, you could argue, I suppose. Yeah, we've got to keep Arnautovic. We've got to keep all the key players, I think. Well, it comes down to manager, though, Joe. You know, and I mean, when the thing that sticks in my mind with Arnautovic is, though, I mean, I love him. He's really great. When he comes to us, he mugged Stoke off. He said to him, well, I'm going to a bigger club. You know, and if you ask me who's a bigger club between Stoke and West Ham, it's West Ham. He even said that himself, you know, and that's what riled the Stoke supporters. So if Man United come calling, he without a shadow of a doubt, he would go, you know, because on that basis of his track record, you know. So yeah, and you couldn't begrudge him really for going to Man United, really, could you? Any sort of the top 5 or 6 clubs in the Premier League. If they come calling for him, he's off. You know, if you get the right money, he's off. Unfortunately, it's not what we want, but that's the way it goes.
What is the right money, Tom?
Well, for a guy, and he's like, you know, how old is an average? 28, is he?
29.
29. So he's literally the peak. He's a bit old for Man United, though, mate. That's not there. He's not going to go Man United. I don't think he will. But if Man United want him and they come calling for him, how much do we pay? 25 million. We've got to ask double that, haven't we? Really? You know, Man United got the money. They're a multi-billion-pound club, you know, so it's 50 million, isn't it, really? You know, and they probably pay you 40.
What about yourself, Charlie? Do you have to take a step backwards and sell your big player while he's at the peak value in order to take 2 steps forward by reinvesting that money wisely and getting 2 players for the price of 1?
Possibly, and that is the way you could go forward, but this window is the wrong time to do it. We need all of our key assets to stay where they are so we can actually start to build something as opposed to constantly churning it. And I think Man United, although like Tom said, I think you couldn't begrudge him for wanting to go if they did come in, but I don't think they'll pay anywhere near enough money for us to do something like that. I don't think they're going to get anywhere near selling 50 million for Marko Arnautovic. I think they're probably thinking more like 20, and if that's the case, then what's the point? Because we're only going to get one player who's probably slightly worse than Marko Arnautovic anyway.
Tom, lots of players have been linked with the exit. Pellegrini, he's done his clear out in the backroom staff. Now the playing squad could be the next place to be hit. Is there anyone you're hoping to see be sold this summer?
To be honest with you, I mean, the way I have players that can be sold, and I have players that I don't care about. But the ones I care about the most are the ones like Arnautovic, Lanzini, Rice. These are Ogbonna, the Masuaku. These are the players I think that we need to keep in the squad and then sell. So really, mate, there could be, and I'd even put Noble in the category of keeping legend. We just got rid of Ginge, arguably the player who loves the club, and you know, and you see that bond with the players. They put pictures up of Ginge, and it's like a bond. Even though Noble might not be in the starting, if Pellegrini was playing. We don't want to play him. Don't want to play him. But we need that person with the links to the club, who loves the club, who's like the sort of like glue in the dressing room, keeps everything together, and that would be Noble. So Noble's got us. To be honest with you, mate, apart from that, I mean, apart from the ones that we've obviously discussed that we want to keep, there's really could be it's how big a job Pellegrini wants to take on in his first. You know, he's literally come in the beginning of the window. They've done everything perfectly timing. You know, he's come in. The window's been open a week or so now. So really, mate, it's what Pellegrini wants to get rid of 7, 8 players and wants to replace them and then get an additional 4 or 5. We've got to do it, haven't we?
Good answer. Charlie, has been noted that Pellegrini will get, well, it's reported he's got a £70 million transfer budget plus any player sales. Who are you hoping is going to be the player sales in order to expand his already booming chest?
The truth of the matter is I don't think we can afford to lose anyone. I don't think we have the squad size to do that. There's like you say, the rumor is 70 million. The rumor is he wants 7 players in. Like, I don't think we can really afford to lose that many people in that instance. There are obviously people I wouldn't mind seeing leave. I don't think we would miss Antonio that much. I don't think we'd miss Chiarte that much. But saying that, I don't think losing them is particularly stepping forward. I think we might as well. I would rather spend the money that we have without having to top it up, as it were, because we need to build a bigger squad because we're so thin that whenever someone gets injured, we're always in a crisis. And I think if we start selling people off purely to speculate that we might be able to get a bigger player, when again we still haven't got a director of football. The director of football is the man no one likes. I think would be a big mistake at this point.
Joe Hart and Mario have gone back to their parent club. Patrice Evra has been released at the end of June, and as is James Collins. Tom, what's your thoughts on James Collins being released, the whole shebang?
Well, the thing is, yeah, I've had a bit of a talk about on Twitter and things about it, like, you know, but the club could have offered him a new deal before the manager come in. I totally understand why they didn't do that, because obviously because Pellegrini's come in and obviously doesn't want him, so which is fair enough. We've got to respect Pellegrini's decision, you know. But the club could have maybe given him sort of like a contract the club in if he wanted to. I mean, but we don't know what Gingy's sort of plans are, you know. This sort of speculating the fact that I want to keep Gingy at the club from a selfish point of view because he loves West Ham in a more coaching role. But he might not want to do that, you know. He might want to have a few years off, go and enjoy his kids. We don't know what he's playing. He might want to play for a few more years, you know. So really, it all comes down. But what the thing I can't begrudge though, if they knew he was going to go, and more than likely they knew the new manager. If it's been rumoured that Pellegrini they've been hunting Pellegrini for 6-7 months, you know, then they more than likely knew that Gingy wasn't going to get a thing. What begrudges me the most, Gio, this guy loves, as I said, he loves West Ham. Oh, how many appearances made? Over 300 appearances for us, I'd say. You know, Man City do it properly. They give a player like, you know, Traore, even Caballero when he left. They make a big thing about it. They get their own program, you know. They give him a shirt all framed of how many appearances in the back, like, you know. And it's one of the reasons that me and you stayed behind at the end. It wasn't to clap the team for the season because it was a shocking season. We stayed behind you, me and you, and said we're going to clap Ginge because we sort of knew that it was going to be. We didn't know, but we had a feeling it was going to be his last game. You know, you can see it. It's not the way it should happen. You know, the guy, if anything, he deserves a testimonial as well. But I don't know, because he hasn't done 10 straight years. He's done about 12 combined. But this is the thing, Jay. You know, it's the way it's been handled has been absolutely shocking from the club. Absolutely shocking. You know, but they're just going to pass the blame on to Pellegrini and say, well, the manager didn't want him. But, you know, he should have been presented. He should have had a whole day. That game against Everton should have been all about Ginge. Program, shirt, everything. We can all celebrate Ginge, you know. And it sort of happened anyway, because when he come on, he knew, you know, I mean, everyone cheered and it was a bit of a, you know, but that, for me, you know, he's got, obviously, the manager decided to go, but I'm shocked at the way he's been treated. Absolutely pulled. Charlie, no fanfare, no contract. What's your thoughts?
What Tom says is right, specifically about Pellegrini and that. How he would be blamed. He already has been blamed. It came out when, oh, he's leaving the club, but if Pellegrini wants to keep him, then we'll keep him. Oh, it's smooth. I said at the beginning of the season that I would have sold him last summer. And that's just because at the time we had an abundance of centre-backs. I didn't think we particularly needed him. Now it's the opposite situation. If we're apparently looking to move on our other younger centre-backs who are meant to be his replacement anyway, and we already need more centre-backs to come in, and we're in a huge period of transition where we've got a new manager, new backroom staff, all these other things, why would you not keep one of the only, like, he's a leader in the dressing room. Everyone likes him. Everyone knows him. You see him in interviews and that when he's talking with other footballers that they clearly get on really well. He's the sort of guy who would give everything. Let's be honest about it. Looking at it super cynically, he would take a pay cut. He's not on a much wages anyway, and he would probably take a pay cut as well. I don't understand. I just don't get why we would let him go like that. And even if we were to let him go, like you say, the way it was done was utterly disgraceful. And just because the fact we're having stupid conversations like, oh, well, he wasn't here for 10 years in a row, that's why he doesn't get a testimonial. That's rubbish. Like, the testimonial shouldn't be, if they're here for 10 years exactly in a row, then they get one. No, it's like, it's to celebrate someone who's given their all for the football club. It's not some stupid, like, arbitrary thing like that. I think we should be celebrating him like that. We should be giving him the send-off he wants. He said before that he wanted to end his career here. What he does next, I don't know. But that we'll see. But I think it's absurd the way it's being handled, and the fact that he didn't get one, I can disagree with more.
Well, that's your latest West Ham transfer rumours for you. We'll be back in a couple of days with the latest set of batches. I'm sure there's more and more coming thick and thin. I'll be back with Gonzo with a cup of tea very soon. We didn't do one last week because we're both having a break at post-season as well. It's not just the players that need a little break as well. But anyway, that's been Charlie, that's been Tom, I've been Gio, we've been Hamish Chat. Subscribe if you're new around here. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Leave your comments below what you think and what you would like to see happen in the transfer market. And we'll see you very soon.